Should you let your cats on the counter? Apparently, it's actually more of a debate than you might think. Hi, my name is Lisette or Nyako, and I basically create videos whenever I have a question. I put it on Reddit and I share what people are saying and my own comments and put it on the internet to help people learn the stuff that I wondered about and learned myself. Paying it forward, basically. So, if that is something you might be interested in, subscribe for more random content about neurodiversity, cats, whatever I wonder about on a given Thursday. So, as you can see, one of my cats is in the background. Her name's Charlotte. And basically, the reason this came up was because my two foster cats, I only foster cats, I don't have any resident cats, they climb on that breakfast bar right there. Particularly when I make their dinner. I don't mind that personally, but the issue is there are a lot of humans who actually don't like when their cats are on the counter. They have fragile things on the counter, or they just don't like the cat putting their feet on the counter. I personally don't mind it. I try to be as accommodating as possible to make the cats as comfortable as possible, let them be their cat selves. So it's never bothered me. But apparently it is something that people don't like. So I started to become concerned that if I'm adopting out these cats under the rescue, it might be really inconvenient to the new family if these cats are just naturally climbing on the counters, because I never did any behavioral training with them to not get on the counters. I just started wondering if that was something I as a foster should feel like responsible for. So that's what I asked Reddit about. And there were people who just personally said they try to discourage bad behavior just in general. So behavior like the cats, crawling on their counters. And one of the reasons why, which I didn't even think about, was the fact that the cat could step on especially glass stove, those stoves that don't have the spirals or the little coverings. They're just part of the counter. A cat could definitely, if they do walk on the stove, they'll definitely get hurt. My cats have never crawled on that counter of mine. I've had cats in the past that have gone on that counter, but the one cat that did, he just hid behind the toaster that I had there. He never crawled across that counter, just hid behind the counter. I'll try to find a picture of it and post it here if I can, but basically he never actually walked across the stove, so I've never had a cat that actually crossed the stove. I was at my friend's house and I saw just how crazy kittens can be as far as they have no discipline. They will just do whatever, and poor kitten moms have to constantly be rearing these baby kittens, telling them, no, you don't do that. And I was just thinking about that now, and I'm thinking maybe that is the kind of cat that would walk across the stove because they have no sense of danger. I don't think adult cats are as likely to do something like that because they've been raised by humans or animals to have enough common sense in their couple of brain cells they have that they have no reason to cross a stove of any kind or go anywhere that they don't have a reason to. So people were speaking as owners, as potential adopters. They would certainly appreciate if the cat wasn't allowed to, which makes sense, again, depending on what you have or you don't like the idea of it. I feel like the majority of people who did respond to this thread, their message basically boiled down to cats will be cats though. Cats love being in high places, including something like a breakfast bar that lets them see all the action going around on the house, in the apartment. They love something like that. So you are going to deal with some level of cat just insisting on climbing those kind of things. And that includes adult cats. Like, my experience, I've only fostered adult cats, if that wasn't obvious, and they usually are pretty good about not even knocking much down. They're very nimble, versatile, they get around things very well, so I don't even usually have to worry about anything or most things on any surface getting kicked to the ground. But cats are gonna naturally want to go to the highest places they can. I have two good cat trees, one there and one in my room, and they use both of them, and they scratch on the scratch poles of both of them. But sometimes one of them especially will still scratch my couch. And it's like, cats will cat, and it's like, I do think as a pet owner, you do have to adopt at least some level of chill. If they're doing it too much, there are things I could probably do to mitigate the behavior, but I have to accept at some level these cats are going to mess with my stuff. They're my roommates that don't really have the sense of don't fuck other people's shit up. It's just about what makes them comfortable. And again, there are ways to mitigate bad behavior, and if that's something you care about, you should be doing that. But aside from positive reinforcements, some level of letting a cat should be present so the cat doesn't feel anxious. Because if you do too much to often discourage them from going on the counter, for example, they're going to associate you with some level of anxiety, especially if your response is to lift them up, which most cats do not like at all because they feel like they lost their control when they're lifted up. They can't do anything. They're completely in your control no matter how much they trust you. They don't want to be in that vulnerable of a position. It goes against everything in their instincts to be in that position. It's so uncomfortable for most of them. So they don't want to be in that position. And even if you are actively taking them off the counter and making them scared to be on the counter when you are there, even if you successfully condition that behavior, when you're gone, they're still going to freaking get on your counter. You're not gonna be able to stop them completely from being on your counter while you sleep, while you're out, unless you gate them in some area. And for the most part, that's probably not advised unless it's a good setup of catio and lots of toys or whatever. Cats are gonna want to explore. Even if you have a good cat room, they're still gonna want to explore. So you do have to have some level of cat you can be a cat. And I know I'm talking a lot more now about letting cats be cats and all that. I still agree that it's not a problem if you give them positive reinforcement when they are sitting at an appropriate place, when they don't get on your counter. And I don't know, I just feel like it's so rare relatively in the day when they do get on the counter, in my experience, that trying to go out of my way to teach them not to do it, I don't know, just feels like a lot of effort for something that they rarely do to begin with. And I feel like it would just do more to make them feel unsafe around me. So, and another point someone brought up is just in general, the potential adopter should just generally be aware that, well, cats will be cats. So be accepting of some level of cats on your counter, or at least until you properly train them to not be on your counter or do other things you don't like. they're going to do that. But also, just generally, no matter how well you train them, they might sometimes be on your counter. If that's truly a deal breaker, don't have cats. Knowing my specific foster situation right now, one of my cats is already nervous about this whole transition she's just been through, to the point where she's already kind of jumpy. I don't want to make her nervous around me. I feel like that's twice keep them off the counter. In some cases, you may just cause them to attempt getting on your counters, or just plain get on your counters more often anyway, because they're gonna push your boundaries. Some cats are like that. One good way to redirect them away from your counters if they are dangerous is to set up cat-friendly high spaces in your kitchen that you will allow them to sit on, and you can maybe, even if they do get on your counter, lift them from the counter to the cat safe place. And after a few times, they will internalize, I should be here. I can be in this area. I can be in a comfortably high place, but this has to be it. This counter creates a situation where the human makes me uncomfortable, but if I stay here, the human is happy and pets me and gives me treats. Give them treats. So, and part of the reinforcement you can do for getting them to use the cat-safe high places is putting double-sided tape or foil, which they hate the feeling of, on the countertops. So they hate going on them because they hate how they feel. Like, why would they go on? Why would you step on a surface of Legos? You hate how that feels, right? So that's all I have. YouTube thinks you will like this video if you enjoy this random video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you liked what you watched here. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. Thank you for watching. Also, hi!